Okay, so I think what Ethan was saying was moving on to
I think we got Ricky.
Ricky.
Ricky waiting in the queue.
So Ricky says, paradigm adventure, ghosts exist and are real. Ooh, that sounds cool. So Ricky, hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
We're doing awesome, thank you. I just answered for Brian. You're doing
You're
awesome
right
now.
though. I'm feeling pretty good tonight.
Fantastic. So
Good,
Ricky,
good.
yeah, let's get
Happy
into
to hear that.
this.
Yeah.
Ghost, yeah. What's up? I'd like to hear about some real ghost.
Oh yeah. So my name is Ricky. I am a paranormal investigator here from Chicago, Illinois.
Mhm.
I just started YouTube. I started my adventure 6 months ago. I'm really big into the paranormal. I've never done anything like this before. I've always watched TV shows like Ghost Adventures, Paranormal States, different kinds of shows. But I started this journey on my own, trying to find out the existence of ghosts. Are they real? Like, is this something that goes on, or is it just scripted stuff? But I can assure you that this stuff is real. This is 100% real. I've seen it with my own eyes, um, back in 5 months ago. That's the only time I only encountered a ghost in front of my face and caught on camera. All the other times I've investigated was abandoned buildings in Indiana, Chicago. I invested Yorktown Memorial Hospital in Texas. All kinds of different things that happened to me over the past 6 months, and it made me into a huge believer than I already was.
Okay, so you've been ghost hunting now for 6 months, you said?
6 months, yes.
Okay, so what was it during this time, or even maybe before this time, that convinced you, from ghosts may or may not be real to yes, they are real? What specifically was it that convinced you?
Yeah.
Like,
So I always believed that it was real, but having your own experience and having seeing what I saw made you a 100% believer. Like, what is that? Like, what did I just see? What did I just capture? And that's what really made me a believer, in that field. And I've always been interested in this type of work, this type of field for over 15 years, since I was like a very young age. And I just recently I just started doing this on my own. I watched YouTubers do it, so I'm like, I could do it as well, and this is the stuff that I capture.
So if I were to ask you for, like, say, one or two examples of evidence, what is the evidence that you have that these ghosts? Because I know personal experience, a lot of people have a lot of different personal experiences that may or may not be related back to a real event, or something that would be considered a ghost. So what specifically is your evidence?
My evidence would be the videos that I put out. So one interesting thing that I come to figure out during my 6 months of doing this, it's I don't know if you guys are familiar with the SB11 Spirit Box.
No, no, I think I've heard it mentioned when I've
So it's
watched this show in the past, but
yeah, yeah. So it's basically a radio station, basically. Just play backwards in a different speeds, and spirits are able to manipulate that white noise, and you could actually hear their voices from that spirit box. And many, many times in my videos, these spirits know my name without me saying my name. And that is very chilling. That is very compelling to me. How is a spirit knowing my name when I have never said my name walking into this location? And it's been it's been more than one location that this
so
happened.
this is a
And
box.
they were on my videos. Hmm.
I was just gonna go back to the spirit box thing to make sure I understand. So it's a box that you
Yeah,
play
yeah,
radio stations or radio waves backwards? Like, how does that work exactly?
yeah. So you can manipulate this spirit box however you like. This certain spirit box that I have has a AM and FM playing at the same time. You could manipulate them as in how fast you want the radio stations to go. Some are very slow, like channeling to different stations very slow or very fast. I like putting my settings on very high, very fast, and reverse it, because if you listen to the radio forward, you could hear voices, just like I'm talking right now.
That was gonna be
If
my
I were
question.
to reverse the radio station and you hear voices like I'm talking right now, that's kind of questionable. Like, you can't hear voices backwards.
Have you ever
Like how
heard?
I'm talking right
Have
now.
you ever heard of the Satanic Panic? Do you know what that is?
What was that again?
Have you ever heard of the Satanic Panic?
A little bit. It was the satanic. What was it again?
Satanic Panic. And it's okay. I'll go ahead and explain. So
No.
a
I
lot
have
of people
not
freaked
heard
out
of that
because when you took albums that were like heavy rock albums and you played them backwards, they were hearing like these different words come out,
I
like
heard of
different
that.
messages.
Ozzy Osbourne was the one I remember the most. Well,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
Alice Cooper too, but Ozzy Osbourne, yeah, you play him backwards and
then
what's
you
he
hear him.
saying here? Yeah.
Yeah, and what they've determined is that like
Yeah.
language has certain sounds and textures and stuff to it, and that just statistically, if you play things backwards enough things are going to sound similar enough to other words that you're going to pick up on them, right? And so sometimes you'd listen to that
Yeah.
and just hear garbling and gooking and not really know what it is. But then when they tell you the lyrics that you're supposed to hear and then you listen again, suddenly those lyrics become clear. Or if they say, hey, there's a voice in here, it's going to say a word, listen for it. You'll listen for the one little bit of that garbly-gook that sounds like a word.
Remember the Laurel and Yanny thing that went around on the I think it was social media, where you played the little video and some people would hear it saying Yanny and some people would hear it saying Laurel. Do you remember that? Because it's the same deal.
I do. I am very familiar with
Somebody
that,
in
yeah.
chat.
Yeah.
Somebody in chat just said the name of it. It's I can't.
Audible pareidolia.
Pareidolia.
Yeah.
Okay, I was about to say I don't want to try and pronounce that. Yeah, so it's actually a phenomenon, and it's well studied scientifically as being a mental phenomenon, as being something that our minds do because we're pattern seekers. So my question to you is, when you're playing radio waves backwards, and you know that there's voices going over these radio stations, and you play them backwards, and you hear a bunch of garbage, but then every once in a while you hear a word. How do you determine that that word is a ghost versus just your brain recognizing sort of the sound or the cadence and deciding it's a word?
Yeah. So every time I do an investigation, I listen closely to what it's saying. Later on, I review what I capture, and that's when I make my judgments on what it's saying. Sometimes I get different words that don't make sense. Sometimes I do get sentences that do make sense, and not only do they make sense, it's something that I'm asking. Like like I could ask, like, what are you guys doing here? And then it gives me an intelligent response back, and that's when I know it is something. It is basically a spirit.
I just thought of a cool experiment we could do. Would you be up for something like one of your investigations? I think Ethan was down for having some contact information shared. So on your next investigation, if you take some EVP, could you do like when you review it, you listen to it, write down what you're hearing from the EVP, okay, what you hear it saying, and then a third party listens to the EVP on a different piece of paper, writes down what they think it's saying, and you both fold it up and put it in an envelope separately, and Ethan could open it on the show so we can see if
that is brilliant. And the other thing you can do is deliberately ask it different questions, but listen to the same strip of voice and see if everybody's questions get answered. Because I really think that there's a strong confirmation bias going on here.
And not only that, excuse me, since you're from Chicagoland, I have been looking for another paranormal investigator to take me out, because originally I was going to be going this coming weekend, but the person unfortunately canceled. So I would totally love to come with you. If you can come up with like a list of places, I'll bring my camera, maybe, a couple people or at least one other person to help film. And I would love to follow you on some haunts.
Oh yeah, that would be something that I would be really down for.
Yes.
And that's actually a good idea that you did say, you guys hear something and I hear something, I write it down, you guys write it down. And that's a really, really great idea. I would.
Yeah, because that will cipher out some of the, and I'm not saying we're all going to hear something different, but who knows? Well, let's find out. That's a good test of this phenomenon.
Yeah, that would be my next thing to say is if there is a phenomenon out there that can be measured, seen, observed, even if it's over these radio waves, there has to be a way to test it scientifically and to back it up and to verify it. And a lot of times these double-blind studies are how they determine whether or not something's true or not. But my question to you is, how open are you to the idea that, like, for example, I would have to say, like, I have to be open to the idea that ghosts are real and that I'm misunderstanding, and that if the proof is there or if someone can demonstrate it to me, I have to acknowledge that they're real because they are. Are you also willing to acknowledge that there's perhaps something going on here that that your brain is doing, or that where you're confirming like that your beliefs are true, even though someone's presenting with you like with counter evidence that it might not be? Like, how open are you
like
being wrong?
Like you mean like self-conscious?
Yeah, so
like your brain it's.
And I don't mean to put you on the spot there. I know it's kind of intense, but we're trying to have a discussion to determine what's true and what's not. And so my question to you is, like, how interested are you in that? Like, if there are scientific explanations for this, are you interested in hearing them? That's very cool.
Oh yeah,
I love hearing
I
people
am.
say that.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yes,
I am very open
I'm excited.
to everything, whether it is debunking things that I capture or other people capture,
or confirming.
I am very open to that. Yeah, confirming.
Fantastic.
And that's funny that you said that. I actually sent out a video from one of my ghost hunts when I captured a lady in white. I didn't want to confirm it right away 100% that it was real, but you could see it. It's real. So it's funny that you say that, because I just emailed the University of Loyola to analyze that video and make sure it's authentic and it's not matrix in any way, or it's not my flashlight. But yeah, I'm always open to debunking things, because at the end of the day, it's something that I'm very passionate about and want people to know that this stuff is real.
Yeah, and if
I get that confirmation that it's real, then it'll open some eyes for some people.
That is really cool. Well, I know I can already tell that Ethan is really excited to get in touch with you. So we are going to start moving on to the next caller, because shockingly enough, we have a lineup tonight. So, and I'm really excited about that. But I want to make sure that we get to everybody. So, Ricky, we're going to let you go, but that was really cool talking to you.
Yeah.
And I am going to watch if you and Ethan meet up, I will be watching that video.
Thanks.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Sweet. Thanks, Ricky.